You know what's a great way to not have a problem installing in the red zone? You know what's a great way to do that? When you can run through the red zone in its entirety. When you don't deal with the red zone. Normally that in the past, certainly in the Super Bowl year that the Eagles had a couple years ago, that was just throw it up to A.J. Brown or Devontae Smith. Now it's hand it to Saquon. And he'll just take it in from there. So after that fourth down attempt that the Commanders went kablooey on instead of taking a 1-point lead, the Eagles get the ball back and in 5 plays, 74 yards, marched down the field. Saquon capped it off with a 23-yard run. Jaden Daniels gets the ball back, an uncharacteristic interception, but you can give that to the Eagles defense. And then 2 plays later, Saquon rips off a 39-yarder. This guy has to be in the MVP conversation. He is this year's McCaffrey. And we were saying that prior to the season. Can he be the Eagles' McCaffrey, which is taking a team that had Super Bowl aspirations? Also, part of the reason why is they've been to the Super Bowl before. And then you add a dynamic, multiple threat out of the backfield in the prime of his career to that mix. And let's see how it can be supercharged. And Saquon is supercharging the Philadelphia Eagles. Period. End of story. I know this is a quarterback-driven league. It's a quarterback award. Last year, McCaffrey cracked the top 5.
Well, he should have won last year.
You could even make that case, sir.
Come on.
And Saquon, you've got to do that here. Last night, they weren't moving it. They weren't scoring it. Saquon's like, I've got it. And that's not just the only time this year he's done that. 146 rush yards, 2 rushing touchdowns, 52 in the air as well. And the key is what he's doing in the second half, the money half. In the second half or overtime in 2024, Saquon is averaging 73.8 yards rushing after halftime. You know who's done that in the last 30 seasons? I'll give you a hint. It's a Harbaugh.
Oh.
Nobody. 7.2 yards per carry after halftime. You know who's done that in the last 30 seasons? Minimum 100 carries? Nobody. He's doing stuff we haven't seen in 3 decades. Saquon after the game talking about second half success last night.
We just kept trusting it. I know I sound like a broken record, but that's really what it was. We kept trusting it. We made some checks, and we were just a lot of those runs. You know, when we go back and we were just one away. Whether it's one block, whether it's one read, and or I might have been a little too tight, or I could have hit it outside. Like they did a really good job too. I'm gonna give credit where credit needs to be due. Washington came out with a really great game plan, but that's the beauty of football. You know, you could stop us for 20-something carries, but if you rip off 2 long ones when it matters most, the stats look pretty good, and most times you get a win.
It's just, I was talking to Susie this morning about this game. She calls him, he's the Michael B. Jordan of the Philadelphia Eagles. He just looks like he's got the movie star quality. He's got the it quality,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
And he's just likable, hitch in the mouth, excellent at everything. He's the MVP of the Philadelphia Eagles.
He's not going to win league MVP, Rich.
Too bad.
But
he should be in that mix. He's got to be.
Nah, he's not. He's 60-1. He's so far down.
Well, get on it.
But he can win Offensive Player of the Year.
Oh, well,
and
Derrick Henry and him are going to be
thing.
neck and neck and now because we'll see what Derrick Henry does the rest of this year too.
Yeah.
But he's unbelievable. Now then, let's hit one last thing before we take our first break and get to Joe Mixon, by the way, of the Houston Texans. Another guy who switched teams at the running back position and is doing well with his new team. Anytime Saquon does something like this, and again, it's his, get this right, it's his 3rd game of 100 or more rush yards and 2 or more rushing touchdowns in 2024. It's his third game. The only Philadelphia Eagle who's had more such games in a season was Steve Van Buren in 1945 when he had 4. Steve Van Buren, you could visit his bust in Canton, Ohio today if you wish, if you're in the neighborhood.
The Van Buren boys.
Dude, he's doing stuff the Eagles haven't seen, since Yalta.
Yalta.
Yeah, I just went there. And
Friday. Yalta,
anytime, and it's like, who saw this coming, right? With him doing this with the Eagles. Everybody.
Right.
Let me answer that. Everybody saw this coming.
Stevie Wonder saw it.
It was his first career win against a team coached by Dan Quinn as either a head coach or a defensive coordinator. He lost in his rookie season to Atlanta, and then every single time Quinn was coordinating against him for the Cowboys. So anytime Saquon has a game like this, certainly for this year, the Giants are going to catch a stray every single time. And they're like, probably, can we turn the page here? Can we we've turned the page. We got a pretty nice kid in Tyrone Tracy Jr., but can we turn the page here? And the answer to that question, unfortunately, is no. No, you may not turn the page because he's doing it for your blood sport rival. We saw on the offseason Hard Knocks, one of the owners of the Giants verbalizing, I will not be able to sleep if he goes to Philadelphia.
Well, he ain't sleeping much.
We
these
heard
days.
some of the conversations as to why the Giants felt Saquon was losable. And you're shaking your head as you watch that stuff. And then you see what he's doing for the Eagles, who now have a 2-game lead in the loss column in division entering week 12, week dozen. And then even when maybe it's not being brought up by the media, it interrupts the media having a conversation with Saquon Barkley during the Prime Video post-game show on Prime Video on Roku. Hit it.
It was amazing. It feels amazing. Last year it was, tough year for me mentally. Did a really good job of.
They love the Cowboys.
I'm gonna stop you for a second. I'm gonna let the crowd take this one. You guys listen at home. They are saying thank you, Giants.
Well, I was after the game. During the game, Micah Parsons just hopped on his phone and placed it squarely on the shoulders in East Rutherford, New Jersey. I blame the Giants, he tweeted about his fellow Nittany Lion. All jokes aside, the Giants almost made us believe Saquon wasn't him anymore. That really says a lot. Daniel Jones was paid over Saquon. He was worth more to their franchise. This really says a lot. As Micah takes the hammer and hits it directly on the head. Because forget the Hard Knock stuff. I'll just say it one more time for everybody in the
Hard
back.
not to.
No, just forget that stuff. The issue was 2 springs ago. 2. Coming off of the playoff win, Daniel Jones did look terrific with Saquon. Then the Eagles curb stomped him out. The issue was paying Jones the long-term deal over Saquon. I don't know what the holdup was with Saquon. They should have long-termed him and franchised Daniel Jones. They would not be in this predicament coming off of that loss in Munich, wondering why isn't Jones seeing the field still well enough after all these years at quarterback, so on and so forth. Because Giants fans will be like, you mentioned this, and they're all like, we wouldn't have been able to win with Saquon. You can't build around just that guy when the quarterback's not right. Correct. You're right. So then make the right decision when the door was sliding in such a way that you just have to make it work with Saquon Barkley. And I still do not get in this league with smart people, and Joe Shane is one of the smart people. You can't get to the position where you are without being smart. Although we still have the John Izek drops in our archive about being the general manager of the New York Jets. Do not look for it. Jay, because I can't hear that man's voice right now.
Thank you. I would never find it.
Okay, fine. So, honestly, I understand what you're saying. Smart people in management. I still don't get when you look at Barkley's contract. It's 3 years, $37 million total. If he gets every penny from Philadelphia, it's $37 million, just $2 million and change above what Justin Jefferson will make in a single year. And Jacksonville's defense was able to either get in Sam Darnold's face last week or cover Justin Jefferson well enough for 4 quarters where he was a non-factor. You know who's never a non-factor? A running back in the fourth quarter of Saquon Barkley's talent with an offensive line up front. Jonathan Taylor, Derrick Henry, Joe Mixon. My God, why are we scrimping on these guys? And then you pay some other position in 1 year as much as you're dragging yourself to come to grips with paying somebody over 3. I feel better.
Can I take a victory lap now on Daniel Jones, or do you want me to wait till the break?
You know what? You know, if it's a victory lap, is this a relay race where you're taking the baton from Joel Klatt, or and then running and finding Todd McShay and handing him that baton?
I mean, I was team no pay. Just remember that.
No, I understand what you're saying on that front, but Giants are probably like, can we just move on? How can you move on? Look, the Eagles are 8-2. They're 8-2, and a large part of I gave you the defense. I gave you Jalen Hurts, Saquon Barkley. Could you imagine if this is DeAndre Swift in the backfield right now? With all due respect to him, I should have said that in advance, because now I'm exposed. I'm now being disrespectful. All due respect to Kenneth Gainwell, Boston Scott. You want to? Are they 8-2 with those guys?
No.
Hell no. Hell no. Catch the Rich Eisen Show every single day on the Roku Channel, 12 to 3 Eastern, for free.